Hey, y'all. Welcome to episode 13 of the Mile 20 podcast, where epic shit happens. I am Laura, and I'm here with my bestie, Lori.
Yo.
Hey. And so today, we a couple of things that we're going to cover is Southern Charm.
Bless your heart.
I wonder what state we're going to be talking about. We're going to talk about a highway. Yep. And booby ice.
That's all you, babe.
That is all me. And then we'll go into our Mile 20 beverage of the week. And Lori has created a nice little concoction for us. So we'll let her get into that here in a second. And we'll talk a little bit about what we've been up to, a little epic week update. And then we will cover down on the Rock and Roll Savannah Marathon.
Which doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist anymore.
So there's that. So while you're listening, you just need to take that into account. Don't get excited about this wonderful race we're about to discuss because it doesn't.
Because you can't do it.
You can't do it anymore.
It is vintage. We're going to call this a vintage race, right?
There you go. Yep.
And then we'll have a little teaser at the end as far as a little bit of a different format that we have for our next episode. And I'm not even going to go and give it away yet.
There you go.
I'll leave that to you, Lori.
That sounds awesome.
And please check us out on all of our socials. Check us out on YouTube as well. You get to go and see us in person. We're videoing each of these episodes. And again, we just really are thanking everybody for checking us out. I did find out that one of the guys who used to be on my team, his name is Cole. He works for Julie Lang now. He went and told Julie that he works out to our podcast every day.
Awesome.
Every week. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That is very cool. That's very cool.
So, all right, Laura, what are we drinking this week? This beautiful beverage. I
think we'll call it a Savannah peach cocktail.
Oh, I like that. And why peaches for Savannah?
Well, because, the Georgia peach is a thing.
That's right. It totally is.
Yep.
It totally is. All right, so what's in this thing?
I actually found the perfect liquor to go into this thing. So obviously we own 2 pointers, English pointers. I found this amazing whiskey called Bird Dog Whiskey. It is peach flavored whiskey.
And it's got a pointer on the label of the bottle.
It's like one of my puppy dogs. I got 2 of these puppy dogs.
Do you know what you need to do? You know what you need to do?
What?
You know the lampshade thing that I gave you with the stopper? That needs to be a lamp on your. So it's on Amazon, and it's a little wine stopper, but it's a plug, like you recharge the batteries on the lampshade, and you could put it in like a wine bottle or something because we're classy that way. So that could be a lamp.
We were actually at an Irish pub in Bethlehem in which all the tables had bottles of Elijah Craig with the exact same lampshade from Amazon in the Elijah Craig, and it looked really good.
See, they stole my idea.
They did.
They totally stole my idea.
Yep,
all right,
absolutely.
So here's to a big cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for making these today.
You're welcome.
Right,
so wait, it's got the whiskey.
Oh, yeah.
You can drink.
Sorry.
The whiskey, simple sugar, lemon juice. Ooh. And then because peaches are out of season, I couldn't use any fresh peaches to muddle.
That's delicious,
so I
Laura.
used peach juice. We never drink like that, for real. That's just for effect. For sound effect. Yeah. I promise you, if you ever sat at a bar with us, that is not what we do.
Ever hear us slurp.
So, Laura, what was your weekend? What'd you do this week?
Well, so we're recording this on a Monday night
late
at 10:18 Eastern time. So
good news, the dog alarm won't go off.
The dog alarm is not going to go off this week, but Maggie's sitting across the table from us with this scowl on her face, like F you bitches that you dragged me in here to go and record tonight. So I literally just came in hot out of the airport. We got delayed for over 3 hours with no explanation whatsoever as to why the flight was delayed. Yeah, there was no weather. We think that there was an issue with the plane that was coming in that would taking us back out of Savannah. So I was in Savannah, Georgia. So very appropriate that we're talking about Savannah today. And I was in Savannah with 3 of my former work colleagues. They all were on a team with me, and I don't know. This is our
Do you guys
fourth
do
year.
this once a year or twice a year?
Once a year,
Once
and
a
this
year.
is our fourth year doing it.
Yeah,
and
it's one of those ones I secretly want to invite myself
I know.
to.
Well, maybe
I
you
only
need-
know 2 of the 3, though, I think.
Yeah. You know Julie and you know Janelle and Leah.
Have I met Leah?
I don't know if you.
I feel like I have to met Leah, right?
Leah and Janelle, they were the ones having the one-on-one one time over like 2 bottles of wine when we went to the Rob Lowe concert thing.
Yes, they were out front of the building.
Yes. So you kind of met her in passing.
Yep.
But yeah, so we did a girls' weekend in Savannah, and it was kind of really nice because I used to live in Savannah with Julie Lang for 3 years. So her and I, that's where we became friends.
I
and
think I forgot that she lived there too.
Yeah.
I remember you, but I
yeah,
didn't
and she worked with
Julie.
me when we worked in the pharmaceutical distribution center.
Yes.
Down there as well. So, but we stayed in this house that was built in 1770 called the General Lackland McIntosh House. So George Washington slept there. So I slept in the room that George Washington was in. And
Did you feel his spirit there?
Dude, we had three haunting episodes.
What?
And we were told by the property managers that ran us through the house that the house is haunted. So one, Julie was on her phone and she was on Instagram and she kept hearing static. So she thought that she had something running behind the scenes.
Right.
On her phone, and it kept saying, "Go home."
Shut up.
No. And
I'd be like, bah.
And so that was the first incident. The second one was Leah went and had her hair straightener, and like when you put it on the countertop, right? You're always going to have the wire right facing down towards the ground.
Yeah.
Well, she left the bathroom and then came back, and the curling iron was turned around. And she was like, there was no way that she put the curling iron that way.
Right.
So that was the second incident. And then Saturday night at about 2:30 in the morning, it sounded like, because Leah was on the 3rd floor in the room above me.
Okay.
And it sounded like she was having a freaking party. And I thought like, ooh, like, is she okay? Like, because there was like a lot of commotion in her room.
Uh-huh.
And she was like, I wasn't awake at all. She's like, I was not awake at all.
Hell no. That is creepy as hell.
We were like, well, could it have been like the floorboards making noise? But it sounded like people like walking around upstairs. It wasn't like a creaks or anything. It sounded like people walking around in her room. Because I was ready to get up and like, dude, are you okay?
Right.
Yeah. So those were our three incidents over the weekend.
Did it feel ominous at all? Or
No.
Even though they were telling you to go home?
No, not at all.
No?
A beautiful refurbished home. I would highly recommend it if you're going down to Savannah. Again, it's the General Lackland McIntosh House. It is considered the oldest brick home in Georgia.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And George Washington visited in 1791. And I how many places say, "Oh, George Washington slept here"?
A lot of places.
Like, what did people go and keep like a little diary that's like, "Oh, he slept here, he slept there"? I was like, it's really bizarre.
Yeah, that stuff gets passed down. I mean, he was legendary even when he was alive.
Yeah.
So he was kind of a big deal.
Yeah, he was. He slept around. He slept at many places. But we had a blast.
Around.
He slept around.
You just took that in a different turn.
I did. But we visited Julie's old apartment when she lived there because she lived downtown. We went to some. I'm just going to rattle them off because I know Lorri and I will talk about this race with not the fondest of memories, about the course, but Savannah, I've lived there for 3 years, and it has just gone through a complete revitalization.
Oh, fantastic! I love to hear that.
And I loved living there when I did in the late 90s, and man, it just has so much life. It's really more of like a tourist, area right now. So we ate at Saint Bibiana by Forsyth Park. Excellent Italian food, like to die for. Vic's, which was a great seafood place. Sorry Charlie's for oysters. Vinnie Van Gogh's for pizza, and Kay's Pizza for gluten-free pizza. We went to a jazz bar called Jazzed and had tapas. Ate Leopold ice cream, which is like their famous ice cream. Usually they have a line around the block. We did the old trolley tours with Miss Gina. And Miss Gina gave us a whole bunch of, like tips and tricks of different eateries and things to do.
Oh, that's fantastic.
She did tell us to go to Hitch. And I might have ordered, maybe on a little bit of a drunken stupor coming back to the house, PB&J wings.
Oh, you sent me a picture of that.
Yes. I'm glad I tried it. It's not one of those like, oh, I need to go and try that again.
Oh.
But it tasted more like Thai wings with like a peach jelly dipping sauce.
Interesting.
And then to round it all off, we went out to Tybee Island, which is the beach right by Savannah, and we ate at the infamous Crab Shack. This is a place where, I ordered, a half a pound of crab and shrimp and then they have a big hole in the middle of the table with a trash can in the middle of the table because we're classy that way and just shuck your stuff and throw it in there.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, so we felt like, we really got to see a whole lot, over the weekend.
You guys were there. It was a long weekend though.
Yeah, we got there, Julie and I and Leah landed on Thursday night, so the three of us all worked on Friday, and then Janelle came in from Nashville. She had a work trip, and we gathered her up, and then we ate a really, really late lunch at Vic's, and then kind of the weekend started from there. So, so just literally just got back into the garage here, and now we're recording. So,
yes. You haven't had any time to relax yet.
No time to relax, but that's okay. That's okay. How about you? What you been up to?
We had more of a local weekend. Friday, I flushed my format of my normal day, believe it or not. I was sitting doing some social media stuff.
Right.
And I saw a post come up it was from 40 minutes ago, at the time, that said one of our favorite eateries in Downingtown, Estrella's, was closing up shop on Sunday. And so I kind of just threw this out to like my cycling ladies, and I'm like, anybody want to, play hooky the rest of the afternoon and meet me at Estrella's? I'd already texted the family, and I'm like, hey, we're eating at Estrella's tonight for dinner. I'm not cooking, just so you know, because they're closing. And so at 2:00, my friend Deneen got off of work early. She usually had to work until 6, and her boss is like, we're dead. Like, just spontaneously said, we're dead. Why don't you leave?
Yeah.
And so then Deneen also called another common acquaintance, like she's to Amber, this girl Amber, and who I know, but we've never been like inner circle type. But I love her; she's a great person.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're like, Deneen's like, I can be there in 15 minutes. So this is like 2:00. I roll up at Estrella with a goal of eating everything that I wanted to eat there because they've got my favorite brisket tacos ever.
Yeah,
I compare everything to that.
I was sad when I saw that on Facebook that they were closing.
They have had fabulous margaritas. Love them. Anyway, so we sat down and chaos ensued. Basically, the family joined me at 6:30 after
4 hours of being there.
3 pitchers of margaritas and. Yeah, it was that was a fun day.
See, maybe if you had done that like every day, like maybe you could have kept them in business.
Maybe I could have.
It's sad when you see a local place that has been kind of they've just a heart of the downtown area in Downingtown.
Really are,
and they were great during COVID as well.
Oh, they were fabulous.
So yeah, it's a tough market right now to go and be. And there really wasn't food industry.
A whole lot of explanation.
Yeah.
So, and the vibe was a little weird.
Yeah.
So I don't know if maybe when we found out on social media, I don't even know, I'm speculating. I probably shouldn't even say this, but I don't know if like the staff had found out that day too. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. They were busy. I mean, when I went in there a couple weeks ago.
They're always busy.
Yeah, they've been always busy. So yeah, it's a shame.
So there was that. And then on Saturday, during Penn State has this huge fundraiser that people may or may not have heard of. I'm going to try not to go into it too long, but they have the thing called Thon. And Maggie and her roommate were on the floor during their senior year Thon. And us and her roommate's parents all stayed in their apartment and kind of trauma bonded during Thon.
And Thon is like, it's like a dance-a-thon, and they raise money for
millions and
millions of dollars for
tens of millions
for
almost.
like cancer patients, cancer research, or
it kind of
or it goes to like families.
It's really targeted towards families.
Yeah.
Families get the vast majority of it, and a lot of it's pediatric cancer.
Okay.
So it's through the Hershey. It's the Four Diamonds Foundation, I think, and they support the Hershey Cancer Center outside of Hershey.
And we'll go and put links in our social media. So if you want to donate to it, it's a great cause.
It is the largest student-run philanthropy in the country. Yeah. I am having a hard time talking. It's so late.
It's okay, man. It's okay.
But anyway, long story short, we haven't seen them in a while, and so the kid, both Ella and now their youngest son, are both committed to going to Penn State.
Oh, nice.
And the girls are like, we need to have a Feckman Swanson get together. So we went up to Bethlehem and went up to their house and had some cocktails, and then we went out to dinner at this Mexican place in downtown, like the historic
So you had
Park,
your
Bethlehem.
fill of Mexican food this past weekend.
Yeah, I had a lot. I don't even tell you. Like, I felt like I was birthing an alien later that night, but that's probably TMI.
I know, because we were texting each other
at 3 a.m. At 3 a.m.
In fact, that was Saturday night.
Yes.
And the whole reason why I was freaking awake is because I heard the freaking footsteps upstairs.
Shit.
So yeah.
So
Okay.
Just to kind of do what you did, we ate at this Mexican place called Urbano. Fabulous. Really good guacamole.
Urbano,
like urban
Bethlehem.
with an O.
Okay.
And then, they have, so like one of the number one historic hotels in the country is the historic Bethlehem Hotel.
I've actually seen the hotel because
Yes.
we used to have an office when I worked for Wells Fargo up in Bethlehem.
Yes, it is beautiful. So like we kind of dipped around in that. We went to a brewery, Lost Tavern Brewing.
Okay.
It had awesome IPA. They had a really cool band.
Nice.
The Road to Victory Hazy IPA was delicious.
Okay.
And then we went around the corner to McCarthy's Red Stag Irish Pub and had a great time there. And they had a really great acoustic guy. I wish I caught his name. I did not, but he was awesome.
That's awesome.
Very good.
That's awesome. Well, that's really, really cool that you guys did that.
Yeah, so that was it. But I drank too much again on Saturday. So it was like a...
Yeah, I know. You get kind of caught up in it. And,
I need to like slow it down now.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely slowing it down after this weekend. So this was my last week of I think I did 5 weeks in a row of travel, and you know me, like after I need my home time. So, but yeah, then Jim leaves tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. for a work trip for like 3 days. So it's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was some fun stuff that we had going on. And you're traveling this week as well.
Heading to Florida
to
see my mom, which does not bode well when I'm trying to like not have any cocktails for a while.
I know. Nana brings it on, man.
Yeah,
she brings it on.
Nana brings it on.
Yeah. All right, are we ready to talk about the Savannah Marathon?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. So
yeah, we ran it.
Yep, we ran it. Yep. So this marathon used to be part of the Rock and Roll Marathon series.
Yes, and this series, they were really cool, I would say, definitely in like the 2010s.
Yeah, like earlier on.
Yeah, earlier on.
Yeah.
They were really cool. Like I think of myself as a bling whore. Like I love a good medal.
Bling whore, that's awesome. we have to make shirts on that. Hashtag bling whore.
Hell yeah.
You are, by the way.
I am. Like, I pimp myself out for these medals. Like, I'll run a marathon. Oh my God, look at that medal. And it was kind of cool, and they kind of drew you in because they would have like challenges, or like you could sign up for a series, and they were everywhere. Like it felt
everywhere.
Like every state had a rock and roll race somewhere. Mm-hmm. So they were in all the cities that you'd be interested in running in. Yeah. They had cool apparel, merch stuff. So it was attractive to go and run a rock and roll because you could sign up for multiple, maybe get additional medals because you do a challenge or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're known for like their bands on the course.
Yes, because they would have local bands, and then usually at the end of a race they would have like some kind of known band that would play music at the finish, and
there was like a big festival at the end of the
big
finish.
festival, food, drink, so forth.
I think as time progressed, they saw that the half marathons are kind of like their sweet spot.
Yeah.
Because you would find it would become like you'd be running. This was my first one I did, was in Savannah in 2013. And so like you run and the half and the full start together and everything feels good and everything's exciting.
Good energy.
And then like
wah, wah, wah.
the half marathon peels off and you're like, oh, by myself. Yeah, like you're like, where did everybody go?
And then you're like, wow, we just ran this really, really beautiful first half of the race. And then you run by shit, like sewage plants and warehouses and highways and like nothingness. Yeah. That's been kind of the mantra of all the rock and rolls that we have done, with them. So, but yeah, it definitely lost a lot of credibility. And interestingly enough, so you ran it in 2013. So Lorri and I did not run this race together.
No, we did not.
Before you and I met in 2014, you had already done this.
Yeah.
And when I was like, oh shit, I haven't done Georgia yet. You had stuff going on when this race was happening in 2017. And then you were like, I really don't want to go and do Savannah again. I was like, all right, I'll do it by myself. Not a big deal.
Yeah. But I did others with you. I went back and did others. But dude, like, no. Savannah was just like,
no. And I knew that. Right. Yeah. So, and I didn't mind going back down there because I'm like, well, I lived there for 3 years and, it was kind of like nice to kind of go back and look at things. But it was awesome. Or it was interesting. So 2013, you had 3,059 marathon finishers. In 2017, so 4 years later, 1,782 finishers.
Yeah.
Wah, wah.
Well, I think that they sort of maybe got a reputation.
Yeah.
Like marathoners weren't overly happy with the product that they were getting.
Yes,
with the
that would be correct.
I think the half marathoners are very happy, but just looking on the Rock and Roll website recently, there's a lot of discontinued races in different towns. Yeah. I guess I didn't realize that they had contracts with the city, though.
Yeah. Well, because, they have to close down roads and...
Right. Well, I knew that there were permits and things like that, but I didn't know...
But it's a contract to hold it for a certain number of years.
Yeah.
Yes. And so with COVID in 2020... there weren't a lot of races that happened, although we were fortunate to have run some races, not in Georgia. But but then in 2021, apparently there was a really bad storm that came in, a lot of wind, rain, so forth. And so the decision was made that they were going to still hold the half marathon that day because I guess when the storm was coming in, it would have hit like the full marathoners. So they canceled the full marathon that year. And then it never happened ever again.
Yeah.
And I was in the airport today and I was like doing some research on it, and like residents were not happy with the race. There were a lot of issues between Rock and Roll and the city of Savannah, and people were not upset when that race got canceled. But now they have a new race that they brought in. And it's called Every Woman's Marathon, and it's actually held in November.
Now, is that just for women?
Great question. We can do a little bit of research on that one.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's just for women, but there was a lot of articles about like they just wanted to connect with an organization that had a little bit more purpose and cause and so forth.
That's fair.
And so now they have it in November. So this year's race is November 16th of 2025. So I appreciate the fact that like the city still felt like they wanted to have a race.
Yeah.
There, but didn't look at the course and where they go, if it's still in the wah-wah areas that we went. For Rock and Roll, but I appreciated the fact that they that they had that. So, yeah. So you you drove, right? Like when you because you were
Yeah.
in Florida at the time.
Yeah, so it was me, and you've heard us talk about my friend Tina from Florida, I think, before.
Tina, too soon, Tina.
Too soon, Tina. So it was me and Tina did the marathon, and then another person that we knew, Emily, and then I think one of Tina's friends, Janetta. We all drove up together.
Oh, nice. That'd be fun.
And I'm not gonna like specifically call out any person. I will say it wasn't Tina. But like one of the people that we were with is like uber competitive, very fast. And so it was kind of interesting getting that into the mix. Like Tina's fast, and I know she was trying to go for time. We were all going for time at that point. And but like we stayed at the Hilton Garden Inn in the Historic District,
Yes.
which is right on East Bay
still there.
Street,
It was
which
still
was
there.
perfect. I don't know where the new marathon starts, but that's where the rock and roll started. So it was perfect. 'cause
Yes. You just walk right out of the hotel right to the start. Yep.
The start was right outside the
Yep.
the hotel doors. It was fantastic. But it didn't have 2 queen beds. It was 2 double beds, and there were 4 of us. And so, like,
Oh, shit.
we get there and we open up the room, and the one person who I'm not going to name, she goes, oh, no, I cannot share a bed with somebody. No, this is unacceptable. So ordered a cot to come up and slept on a cot, but then proceeded to complain because the cot was so squeaky and stuff, and, and she was worried about her sleep so she could run fast and everything. And she's a Boston qualifier. She's fast. But just the way it was kind of perceived, it was like...
For those of you who can't see me
Yeah.
on video, I'm like pretending like I'm throwing up
Like,
right now.
I respect that you want to be competitive, and I respect the fact that you want to have everything.
If you're traveling with other people, you make a decision to if that's a big deal for you, you say, I'm going to get my own room.
There you go.
And then not be a freaking like see you next Tuesday to everybody else. So
Right.
that's the rule.
Yeah.
That's the rule.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Now, I think we drove up on a Friday, like
I'm glad I never met that person. We would not get along with each other.
You may have. That person was at Boston.
Oh, well, I didn't really talk to that person. So okay.
Anyway, so then like I can't even remember what we did. I think we drove up on Friday, did bib pickup. I'm sure we hung out, went out to dinner somewhere. I couldn't tell you where. Ran the race. For me, the race experience itself, like I was trying for a PR, and I was trying so hard. I wanted to break 4:45 or 4:30 was my goal. I wanted to be 4 hours and 30 minutes. And Tina's fast. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to run with Tina. So I was running with Tina, and everything's going great until like approaching like that halfway point where we'll talk about this point in the course in a little bit.
Yeah.
I see there's like a little bit of an exit ramp, and she starts like kicking it in, and I'm fading quickly. And she keeps going, and I was like, no, Tina, don't leave me. But I was happy. I wound up with a PR for the day.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. And it looked like you had like decent weather for your marathon.
Yeah, it was like in the 60s.
That was
as a high, which
lucky
is,
for you.
Yeah.
Lucky for you, because the high was 85 degrees when I finished.
Oh, yeah. How'd you keep yourself cool, Laura?
Oh man, I was running with this one lady. We just started talking to each other, and we were kind of bitching about like running on this like highway that was it was like hell on earth. And so they had a bunch of medics that were filling bags of ice because it had gotten so hot.
Oh, wow.
And I took a bag of ice at this one stop. She did not take a bag of ice. And I took that bag of ice and I fit that shit in my sports bra.
Yes.
And I ran with it, and it was like jigga,
Like
jigga,
you
jigga,
did
jigga,
in
jigga.
Chicago.
I did that in Chicago, and I was like, see, I learned. And it just it kept me cool. And the lady, like, she was a little no, she was probably like 10 years older than me, and she was like, that's like a great idea. So the next time we went and passed by a medic tent, she got a bag of ice because they were doing it for all of the tents or the locations where they had the medics.
85's hot.
It's too hot.
It's
too hot.
Yeah.
And she grabbed herself a bag of ice and she threw that down her sports bra as well. So I probably ran with her for about 4 miles, and she was I did not catch her name, but she was an absolutely lovely lady.
Aww.
And we just kind of kept each other company during the period of time where it just really kind of sucked in the race. But when I went, I flew down to Savannah.
Well, I would have flown if I was up here too.
Yeah. And I mean, I totally did this one by myself, went down there and I felt really comfortable going down there because I live there, and I stayed at the Hyatt, which is on River Street.
That's shocking. A Hyatt?
I did.
There's a Marriott, isn't there?
Yeah,
down there?
but the Hyatt was closer to the start. So that was my litmus test, just
That's
stay
so
closer
unusual for you.
But now they have a JW there.
Ooh.
And so this week, I forgot to mention, this weekend we did some spa. We all got massages at the JW. And
how was the spa there?
So Kate, who did my massage, was absolutely awesome at Poseidon. That's the name of the spa. The spa is really tiny. They have this huge lobby, and the girls and I, all we kept saying was, they couldn't have taken a little bit off of the lobby and made the spa a little bit bigger. They had one shower, and it was almost comical. I was the first one to get in the shower.
Oh, jeez.
And I felt like I was fat guy in a little coat. I was doing the.
And you're not.
No, and it was absolutely crazy. It was crazy how tiny the spa was. But massages, top notch, absolutely top notch.
Nice.
Felt very, very relaxed afterward. So, all right, so you had halfway decent weather.
Yeah.
I had pretty shitty hot weather.
Yeah.
It was mine was typical Savannah weather.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was hot as balls. And then this was, you said this is your 4th state.
This is my 4th state.
Yeah.
Because I'd done the 2 in Disney's.
Yep.
Philly, Chicago. No. 2 Disney. Oh yeah, 4 state. 2 Disney's, Philly, Chicago,
and then Georgia.
And then Savannah.
Yeah. And the course at the time, it was a 7:30 start, right?
Yeah, 7:30
and you start on Bay Street, which was nice because there's you have River Street, which is down at the very, very bottom of the city, right? So it's level with the river. But then Savannah was built on a bluff, and it had strategic purpose, right?
Yeah.
For protecting the city. So Bay Street is the first street that runs parallel with the river, but it's up on top of the bluff. And that's where a lot of the businesses start and so forth.
But if you, after the marathon, were to walk down any of those steps to go to the riverfront businesses and then have to walk back.
No.
My IT was screaming at me afterwards.
I did not do that. I did not do that.
We went out, we went out to, there was a dueling piano bar. What was it called? Savannah Smiles.
And then the one thing I really liked about the first part of the course is that you got a chance to go and run through the historic area of Savannah.
Yeah, but
just for a couple miles.
Yeah, a little bit, but they shot you out to West Savannah.
Yeah, first, but then you
come
came back.
Yeah, and then you wound around for a while.
Yeah, and the West Savannah stuff was warehouses and shit.
Yeah,
so, yeah, that was bleh. And then you ran east towards East Savannah.
Yeah, and I remember I felt like that was a little meh.
Yeah, and then what happened?
And the whole reason why I refused to go back to Savannah and run that race was the hairy Truman Parkway. Because you run on a highway.
Concrete highway
between mile 11-ish to about 13 and a half.
Yep.
And then you also, it's an out and back and you returned.
Yes.
And I can vividly remember when I finished in 446, seeing the dump trucks on the other side of the highway, thinking, this just sucks. It's hot. Even though I wasn't hot, it was in the 60s.
And there's no shade.
But there's no shade, and the sun was just beating down on me. And I'm like, this just sucks. Now, Savannah State University was a bright spot.
It was an absolute bright spot because that was, I want to say that was like right when you turned around. So maybe at like mile like 18 to 20.
Yeah.
And the kids at the university,
They brought it.
they totally brought it. And I'm glad you had like the same
Yes.
experience. They had a band and they had
Yes.
cheerleaders and they had the students out like, cheering the runners on.
Yes.
And that was just absolutely fantastic.
I felt a little guilty because I was like, yeah, this is awesome. But I was also starting to get blisters on my feet because my Body Glide, I was either wearing newer shoes or my Body Glide was wearing off. I remember stopping just pulling over and taking my shoes off. I was so pissed and re-rubbing my feet with Body Glide and shoving them back on and kept going. I'm like, this is not matching the energy right now.
Yeah. Oh, and it was fantastic energy.
It was really great.
I think at that
energy.
point in time, I still had the ice in my boobs. So
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. But I think you and I have dubbed the highway the highway to hell. Because we both had a very similar experience, although mine was a little bit hotter than
that
yours.
would have been hell. Terrible. Terrible.
Yes, it was really, really bad. And then, I think that the end of my race was really nice. Well, did you finish by Forsyth Park as well?
Yeah, same.
Because that was awesome because after the race, I got my medal. And then I was doing like my selfies, in front of the Forsyth Park fountain, which we found out this past weekend was actually ordered from a mail order catalog for like $2,500.
What?
And the original one had all these like different colors of paint on it to make it look like faux marble, like faux stone. And then like the city was just like, screw that. And they painted it white. So yeah, it was from a mail order catalog.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that crazy?
That's crazy.
I'm like, what freaking mail order catalog had like fountains like that size? Because like if you've ever seen like iconic pictures of Savannah and there's a big white fountain in the middle of a park, is it on your?
I was checking to see. I thought it was on my medal. It's on my shirt.
It's on your shirt.
Yeah.
It's on your shirt. Yes. And it's just a really iconic, fountain. So, but, and then that's where like by Forsyth Park, where they had the rock and roll had like the, the concert stage. They had a huge concert stage set up for when I finished.
Yeah, they did too for us too. Yeah.
Do you remember the band that played for you?
I don't. I remember having a very good time. I had a beer, I had a smile. Yeah. I felt like I was good.
Do you know who did mine?
Who?
I can make your hands clap.
Is that Fitz?
Fitz in the Tantrums.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it was cool because like when we went to the Super Bowl,
awesome.
this past year, they were actually playing at one of the venues we were at as well.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, I was like, oh, coming full circle there.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, cool. I kind of hung around and listened to the music for a bit, and I was like, all right, now I need to go and limp my way all the way back down to the other side of the city, where the hotel was. So that's the only downside is that, when you do marathons in Savannah, and if you want to do this new marathon that they have, you stay by, the downtown area. If they finish anywhere, by Forsyth Park.
It's a hike.
It's a good 25-minute walk to get back into like the main downtown area.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful walk, but it's a walk.
Yeah.
Which was okay. So and if you hear a little bit of coughing right now in our background, poor Maggie is like very, very under the weather. So we feel really, really bad for her now.
We drug her out. She does not want to be here right now.
No, she really doesn't want to be here. So yeah.
But we're grateful for her because we know she does a good job.
We love you, Maggie.
Thank you, Maggie.
All right. So what were some of the most memorable things that you remember from the race outside of like the highway to hell? And come on, man.
Running with Tina.
Yep.
Watching her slipping through my
What
fingers.
What was your photo bomb? You have a note here about a photo bomb at the start.
The photo bomb. Yes, at the start. Oh my God. So Tina and I, we take selfies. You take selfies at the start.
Yeah.
So Tina and I are taking a selfie. We take this cute selfie and we look cute, And then later I posted it, or she was looking at it and she's like, holy shit, this woman is behind us, like blowing her nose, like making this really obnoxious face, blowing her nose. It was gross, but it was hysterical.
That's classic.
And she's just like, she had posted it like even 3 years after the fact. She's like, it's been 3 years since this happened, like 2016.
All right,
She's like,
dude, I need to see that picture. I don't think I've ever seen that picture.
We'll post it on. We'll post it on the Instagram.
Outstanding.
The Instagram.
So the lesson there is make sure that you know, like when you're blowing your nose or snot rockets, whatever your thing is, looking around for cameras for photobombing. So yeah. Anything else like that you liked about the race or the experience?
I mean, I was happy I got a PR.
Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah, which is cool.
I was very excited. I was a little miffed because I was shooting for a 4:30 and I got a 4:46, and that drove me crazy because I've never been fat. That's my PR.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God damn it, I couldn't have made it a 4:45. Like just 1 minute. Just 1 minute.
It was that body glide. It was that body glide incident.
It was the body glide stop. I should have just taken the damn blisters and called it a day.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
It's all good.
I mean, Savannah itself, nothing about the race. I'm going to be real. And I know that they're known. I remember that they're known for all their bands on the course. I don't even remember a memorable band on the course, which is really bad.
There were not a lot of bands when I did the race. I think it was too hot for the bands.
Maybe.
But there were some bands out there.
What about you?
You know, the two things that I really loved was, outside of just like kind of going back to like our stomping grounds, because we were stationed, down at
you
Fort
have an
Stewart.
emotional attachment.
It was a
to
total
Savannah.
emotion.
Yeah.
And it was cool because, when I did it in 2017, there were aspects of the city that were completely revitalized. And now going back, now almost like another 10 years later, it's like, holy crap. Like, I just can't believe how much the city has reinvested in itself.
That's fantastic.
Which is wonderful to go and see that. But the two things that were really, really memorable, because again, I was by myself, is I went to a restaurant called Sorry Charlie's, and we ate there this weekend as well. And I went there because they have, oysters, and me and my oysters. I love oysters. Yeah. So I went, and a lot of people were wearing their medals, because of, and I actually we talked about it in prior episodes where we don't really wear medals, after the race. Right. But because it was freaking 85 degrees and there were a ton of people.
Sometimes you earn it more than others.
Yeah. And mostly everybody had done the half marathon. And I was like, yo, bitches, I want to show you that I did the full marathon in 85 degrees. So I wore my medal, and everybody was wearing their medals, right? It's kind of like a badge of courage, right? So I go into Sorry Charlie's, and they freaking gave me my dinner for free.
Holy shit.
Because the one waiter was like, did you finish the full marathon today? And first he was like, did you finish that marathon in the full heat today? And I was like, yes, I did. Oh, girl,
Yeah.
And next thing you know, I go to pay the bill, and he's like, it's on us. And I'm like,
wow.
Are you freaking I'm like, no, dude, I can't go and do that. I tipped him very, very well. But
that is service.
Yeah. And so that was freaking awesome. And then fast forward, I go back to the Hyatt. So, and the one cool thing about Savannah is that you can go and get a drink, and you can actually walk around the city with to-go cups. They have an open container thing where you can walk anywhere in the city with an open container. So I did before knowing that I was getting my dinner for free. I had ordered a drink because knowing that I was going to be leaving, I was like, well, crap, I'm going to walk down to the Hyatt. I'm going to walk around with, some kind of beverage. Yeah. So I ordered a beverage, and that was included in my thing. So I'm walking down, with my little free drink, and I get to the Hyatt, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to go and grab a glass of wine, go back up to my room, freaking watch some movies because I'm by myself, Right. And I was freaking tired. I was spent from, the heat. Yeah. Well, because Savannah has so many military bases around it, one common thing is, depending upon the event and so forth, there's a lot of military balls. BALL. So, it's like, women wear big long dresses, and, the soldiers, formals, soldiers will wear their uniforms. And so they were having a military ball at the Hyatt. And
which branch?
I believe that it was I think there were Marines that were there.
Oh, cool.
And so it was cool because I'm sitting at the bar and I have my marathon shirt on and I had my medal around my neck, and all of a sudden people are asking me like, "Oh my God, did you run the half marathon?" I'm like, "No, I ran the full." And then somebody caught sight of my West Point ring, and they're like, "Oh, like, where's that ring from?" I'm like, "Oh, it's a West Point ring." Next thing you know, they're mamming me because they were all like enlisted. They're mamming me up one side and down the other. I'm like, I was like, "Guys, it's been years since I was in the service, right?" I was like, "You do not need to call me ma'am," because they were making me feel really freaking old too.
Right.
And next thing you know, like they were like, "What are you drinking?" And I'm like, "No, really." They bought me free drinks.
Oh my gosh.
So I had a glass of wine.
I never had that luck when we're together.
Right? And then
Because they don't want to buy two.
I was
They
like,
only want to buy one.
I was like, damn, I need to travel by myself. No. But
I've been doing this all wrong.
But I had a glass of wine at the bar, and then I had a glass that I brought up to room. I didn't even finish it. I was like, I need to drink water. But I thought that was really cool, and
it was really nice.
It's just like kind of out of respect, and,
Yeah.
and so forth. So I just thought that was one of those memorable experiences. But I just absolutely love Savannah, and again, I'm just really happy that the city has kind of come back to life, since being there. So those are a couple of things that I like. Really, really remember from it. But all right, so the swag. So you still have your shirt.
Yeah, but it was a size small.
It's okay.
When I ran it the first time in 2013.
You're still wearing it?
It's a little tight. Ellis said my boobs look good.
Yeah, they do. They do. They look good. I do not have my shirt. I have no idea.
It doesn't breathe.
Yeah, I think that's probably why I ditched it. Yeah.
But it does not breathe.
No, it's like, but it's a rock and roll tech shirt, and they were cheap.
Yeah,
they were cheap. So today I was like, as we were, kind of killing time in the city, I was like, girls, I have to buy a Savannah shirt because I got to represent Savannah today.
I'm glad you chose blue.
Right, I know.
You didn't even know I was wearing blue.
I had no idea what color your shirt was for
when
your
I
race.
saw you in blue,
I'm
like,
never seen you wear that shirt.
Right. Why would I ever wear this shirt?
But you've kept it. That is my point. That is my point. That's why I ditched some of my shirts.
I kept them because
you knew we were going to 20 years later do these podcasts.
No, but I always thought that maybe I might want to do one of those quilt things.
Oh yeah, I've done the quilt.
Yeah.
I've done the quilt.
I thought maybe.
I've done 2 quilts with some race shirts.
Yeah.
And they're freaking awesome. My best quilt that I have, and I do campusquilts.com.
Yes.
We're not getting paid for any of the advertising we're doing for these people.
By the way, we make no money doing
Zero.
Nothing.
Zero.
But if you subscribe, you may help us get there
Yes.
eventually, just so you know. But right now, we make no money
No
doing
money
this.
off of
so
this.
when we say we really like something,
we really like it.
We really like it. If
Yes.
we don't really like something, we really don't like it.
Yes.
But either way, we're not getting paid.
No, not at all. But campusquilts.com.
Yes.
And I use them to go and take a bunch of Jim's Wawa t-shirts.
Ooh.
So for those of you who are not in the local Philadelphia area, although Wawa is now
everybody knows about
in many
Wawa
places,
now.
but Wawa is it's a convenience chain, but they serve fresh food like subs. So imagine you take
it's like a Buc-ee's, a Sheetz.
No, it's not like Sheetz.
I know.
Bite your tongue.
In certain markets where they don't overlap, there is a place where Sheetz has their place.
You can get fresh sandwiches and pizza and fantastic coffee. And,
if you're from this area,
we love our Wawa.
Nothing compares to Wawa.
Wawa.
I know every region has their place, but Wawa beats them all.
Do you know what Wawa means?
No.
Is
it Indian?
It's Indian, and it means goose in
hence
whatever
the
the
goose.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, and I do not know. And probably should know this in what
dialect.
What dialect? But yes, but yes, that's what Wawa means. It means goose. Yeah.
But back to bling.
Yes.
If you were joining us on YouTube, you will see why I never wanted, as a bling whore, never wanted to run this race again.
Your medal sucks ass, man.
My
it's
medal
bad.
sucks ass.
It's bad.
I mean, it isn't even a real ribbon.
Why is it tied at the top?
I don't know. Well, maybe I broke it. I don't know. I don't remember.
You mentioned that your medals can get janky, man.
No. But I really think
that's gonna be the jankiest medal I've ever seen. Dude, that's freaking, that's terrible. And what is it on there? So it's like a gate.
Like a garden or something.
Oh, you know what it probably is? It looks like a gate. It's one of
hell.
the cemeteries.
It's the gate to the highway to hell is what this is.
Highway to hell.
Yeah, Lori's like, I'm going to run Savannah. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I can't go there with
She's like,
you.
have fun. Mine is.
Yours is so much better. It's got sparkles.
Yeah, mine even says like the marathon stuff on. Like it's like, dude, yours is just like a plain orange ribbon.
This looks like something that DJ earned in like Junior Olympics.
Like where everybody gets a medal. Yeah.
No. He actually got.
No.
He earned medals at the Junior Olympics. So no.
I wasn't referring to the DJ thing, but like when you're a kid, and like everybody gets a medal type of thing. No, mine has the was it the City Hall building on it?
Gotcha.
So yeah, which is like
with
got a really
sparkly roof.
Yeah, and it's got a beautiful gold dome roof on it. So yeah, I
have medal envy.
That's because they were like, Laura Lee's back. We need to have a nice medal for Miss Laura.
Yeah.
Everybody's a Miss So and So down in Savannah. So, and I did not keep my shirt because my shirt sucked. So, the swag for rock and roll just always sucked. So, anyway, the rock and roll still has a couple of marathons in a couple of cities. I know they still do Nashville and Las Vegas, and is it San Antonio? They stopped it, but there's one other city that they do it in, and I can't remember what it was. But they have
a lot of halves.
They have a lot of halves. So it's like it just wasn't a great experience for Lori and I. But if you're doing the halves, I mean, again, they do a nice job, putting on the halves.
Now, I did do a little bit of research. So for people who may be joining us that are interested in eventually running a marathon in Georgia, I was asking our 50 states chat about like kind of what the new Georgia marathon is. And there was probably 3 that really stuck out. One is the Publix Atlanta Marathon. That's like the real big, thousands of people.
Mm-hmm. You want a big race? Would be the race.
Yeah, it's a little hilly, I think, but people were talking about that. Although after this weekend, they had a little bit of a snafu because they just ran it and the course was short.
Which is terrible for a runner, because if you're trying to do the 50 states and your race is short, then it doesn't count supposedly. Yeah. So that's unfortunate. Yeah. So they do the every woman marathon. What else is out there?
The Chickamauga. It's one of the battlefields. Okay. They have one, but that looks like that's almost like a double loop course. Oh. But supposedly it's really cool because it goes through a lot of historic parts of the battlefield and stuff. And Jekyll Island Marathon, which seemed cool. Interesting. And I was actually wondering if maybe we should visit Georgia again together.
Yeah. I think
soon, like 2026.
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah, sure. All right, so if the race did exist still, I don't even think I need to ask you that question.
What about you though?
No, I would not run this race again if it existed. Just because of that highway running and running on concrete is, I mentioned it in a previous episode, like it is awful for you as a runner.
It is terrible.
And to have run as many miles as we did, and me in the heat. No shade, and it was just like endless. And no, absolutely not.
Yeah, that highway was...
It's hard enough running 26.2 miles, much less running sucky 26.2 miles.
I agree. And I would say, so if you think about it, that out and back was, essentially 5 to 6 miles.
Yes. Yeah. And it's hard. So like it's hard to pack in like
the race almost.
Yeah, because it's hard to pack in 26.2 miles like in the Savannah area. So that's a great place. Like, but they closed down like that entire highway.
Yeah.
Which then backs up like the entire city. So again, I don't know what the course looks like for the Every Woman Marathon.
I hope it doesn't have that highway.
But hopefully they figured it out and they have a little bit of a different course. So all right. Yeah. So if it still existed, we both would not go and do this. So So, all right. So I think we covered everything we wanted to cover for Savannah.
Yeah, for sure.
Again, great city to go and visit.
Highly recommend Savannah.
Great long weekend city.
Absolutely.
Tons of stuff to go and do for both kids, couples, if you're going with your girlfriends, your guy friends. I mean, tons of eateries and just fantastic stuff to go and do. So would highly recommend this city.
Yes.
So, all right.
Always.
So what do we got next week?
Next week. Oh, I'm so excited. Yay.
Me too.
We are interviewing Edith Zushman with 261 Fearless, which is a foundation that was founded. It was co-founded by Edith and Catherine Switzer,
who we talked about a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, and their whole thing about their foundation is about women empowerment.
Whoop, whoop.
And, empowering women through running. And I'm just so excited to dive into it and to discuss this with her and find out about her background and how her and Catherine met and all of that. I'm really excited to talk with her.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a really, really exciting episode. And yeah, it's just, again, it's how can we, if through the stuff like that we've done with running, how can we expand that out into other spaces as well? Because I feel like you and I going and running the 50 states together was a little fearless.
Oh, hell yes.
Right?
I think when you decide, like you reach, I guess Edith called it her 261 fearless moment.
Yeah.
So I feel like that moment when you said yes, I'm doing this.
That was my mile 20 moment though. Also a 261 fearless moment.
But honestly, I think they're parallel, which I like. They totally that too. Is that the mile 20 and the 261 fearless kind of go hand in hand.
You have a course and you can choose one way or the other.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. So it'll be cool to go and talk to Edith and see how our paths cross.
Yeah.
In our journeys here. So
cool. And it'll be really exciting because it's right before Boston too, and I know that her and Catherine will be in Boston supporting their 261 Fearless team,
which they are international. I mean, they're all over the world.
All over. I think 14 different countries.
Yeah, because Edith's from Austria.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So it'll be really, really cool to go and talk to her. So excited about that.
Okay, well, we want to thank you guys for hanging with us today. Now go make mile 20 your bitch.
Peace out, y'all.
Bye.